So I had to see Supergirl one more time, for a second time actually, not one more time, a second time. Because the past few days haven't been hopeful. This sign to me means hope, and that's what they said in Henry Cavill's version, that this symbol means hope. It should have an H on it, not an S, but it means hope. And being hopeful for anything to happen. Supergirl also represents that. And she's also a rule breaker, and she also follows the rules. Breaks them, follows them. Sometimes you have people like that, but towards the end, she found her self-worth. And this is what I mean by this. Yes, there's hope. So I had to see Supergirl one more time, for a second time actually, not one more time, a second time. Because the past few days haven't been hopeful. This sign to me means hope, and that's what they said in Henry Cavill's version, that this symbol means hope. It should have an H on it, not an S, but it means hope. And being hopeful for anything to happen. Supergirl also represents that. And she's also a rule breaker, and she also follows the rules. Breaks them, follows them. Sometimes you have people like that, but towards the end, she found her self-worth. And this is what I mean by this. Yes, there's hope and prayer and God and I think I believe in that, and I believe in that too. But when there's a superhero that's exactly the representation of that God that we all love, Jesus, and we're given praise. In the comic book world, Superman, Supergirl are the most superpowered beings in their world, in the DC universe. And they inspire by hope. And getting that hope back is the best thing. When I said I was doing nerd therapy basically means that whole thing. This is nerd therapy. That's why I went to go see this the second time, because this movie is hopeful towards the end, beginning, middle. She's struggling, but she gets hopeful towards the end, and she figures out her self-worth. And that's what I'm doing, figuring out my self-worth. Who cares what other people say, do, and say about me? I do not care. As long as I have this in mind, superhero right here, that helped me walk again. When I had broken heels, helped me walk again. When Man of Steel came out, and they said this sign right here meant hope, I was hopeful to walk again, and I was hopeful to get back to doing things I want to do, and meet new people, and meet my best friend, and have a girlfriend, and have an ex-girlfriend, and have people in my life that want to be there instead of people breaking it down. So, that doesn't tell you anything, and tell you that I only...
Keep quiet. No eye contact. He's an immortal with God complex. Killed off his entire planet. Not a fun guy. Hey.
3 more of whatever you call that shit. I'm looking for a brigand. Goes by the name of Drum Baxter.
He's looking for brigands. No.
Red mohawk. Dead left eye.
He's so weird.
Tassidi. No. I know he was here. You're saying he wasn't.
I'm gonna go. Sit down.
Are you calling me a liar? No. Well, I am.
It just takes some time, everything will be just fine. Everything's gonna be alright. Just take some time, let it be in the middle of the night. Everything will be just fine.
AC Stoller, aka Austin, and aka Austin, welcome back to my channel. And I just got done watching Supergirl for the second time, and I needed to go see it again because I wanted to, but also I've been feeling kind of like I need to see it again for get my hope back and have a hopeful feeling about this. And this movie's amazing. Once again, I enjoyed it. Once again, um, the Supergirl right here from Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. This movie hits every spot. Once again, I love it and enjoy it. Every time I see Millie Cox on screen, she should be the Supergirl that we want. And I know this got love and hate. I know that everyone loves it or hates it, and it's not getting that much love for some people. But I love it. I enjoyed it. Some people in my theater might enjoyed it. Um, and this is part of my third nerd therapy. Like I did go see, I saw Friday here at my house, and I watched part of the second one after the later on in the day. But and I went to go do some other things that help me do nerd therapy. But this is also part of my nerd therapy. I need something funny, also need something heroic, something like superhero like heroicism and stuff like that. And I brought back my hope back. And I can also see by seeing seeing this movie the second time, I can see why some people liked it, some didn't. And I'll get into that. But what I liked about it is it's just a great movie, and I love it every aspect of it. It followed the comic book, it followed my one of my favorite graphic novels so far to a T, and it followed it straight up forward with except without Lobo and except Superman and Lobo being added. And I will talk about that too, but and some other things, the elements that they added in here. But um this story is just amazing. It goes from Supergirl losing everything she knows and loves, like Krypton and her family, mom and dad, to her going to bars and stuff, jumping back and forth to them to have a drunken stupor because she doesn't feel like she's hopeful or worth anything to Ruthie comes and helps along with that. And then you see self-worth. And then also Ruthie's character is great, but like I wish that I can this is what I saw for the second time. Ruthie shouldn't have been where she was at, and also her brother shouldn't have been where he was at when Krim was there. And Krim does not look like that in the comics. Krim looks more gorgeous looking. He's still a bad guy, but he looks more gorgeous looking. And her brother shouldn't have been there. She shouldn't even been there where she's sitting, watching everything happens. But that's what happens in the comics, and things that pull out in the comics here and there. The bus scene was fantastic, once again, and the action scene on there. All the action scenes that even the one bar action scene was pretty cool. Lobo was great. Jason Momoa's Lobo in here is pretty fantastic. Um, I still think he's did a fantastic job. Lobo was not originally in the original story, but they had to have him somewhere in here to show his first cameo in something or first introduction into the DCU. I want to say EU, but DCU. And he had to be somewhere. Superman had to be in here because Cora's cousin, but also Cora, goes to Earth, and this one she goes to Earth. In the comic, she doesn't go to Earth at all in the comic. it's already stated that she on went to Earth on this in this movie, which she hasn't done in the comic at all. But there's a lot of things they changed from this, and I'll get into that in the in these details. But just having a movie that's also from like a character building her self-worth back up and knowing what her worth is and her self empowerment to get that back and also get her hope back from a girl showing her that on the way the journey to get Grim and the take down Grim is at the end she finds her hope and her self-worth to be the hero that she needed to be and she was always had in her heart. Um the simple fact that this movie had a lot of action in it also, it also was like Guardians of the Galaxy. I just loved every aspect of this, and it followed the comic book to me to T, except a couple of things, and then a couple of things added, like the human trafficking part of it doesn't need to be added into this. When I looked at it again, like that's not how the comic book went, but they wanted to change it up a little bit. And I can also understand why some people were kind of mad about like the crypto thing. Nobody got to see this little guy. Nobody got to see this little guy right here. Oh, yeah, no one got to see this little guy right here. Because they don't really they show him a little bit in a little bit in the movie, and he gets shot by a poison dart, and then you see a little bit of backstory on Krypton, and outside of that, and that's about it. But that's how the comic goes too. The comic goes that you don't see Crypto that much, and she's trying to save her dog, but also has Ruthie following her around for that. And then also the brokenness from her going to planet with red suns and suns that she doesn't have powers to get drunk, and also because she lost everything she knows. She lost her mom, dad, Krypton, even when they put the dome over it with the planet, making its own separate little planet, she had to go away from there and see Clark. She lost everything, and it was also her birthday. So, and then once her dog got poisoned, it gave her motivation to get the antidote and have Ruthie there. Ruthie doesn't listen, but also follows her just to get her revenge, and she wants that revenge. And it had that Guardians of the Galaxy ass stuff. I can also see how it also reminds people of like Mad Max, but to me it's more Guardians of the Galaxy. But seeing this movie is amazing because Supergirl is supposed to be with Clark at home, but she's at a place where she's not supposed to be up in space. And she's kind of like a rebel and a Girl Scout at the same time. She's doing the right thing, but she also wants to be rebellious and do that. And that's kind of cool, actually, because some people are like that. Some people have that Boy Scout, Boy Scout, Girl Scout personalities, but also has that rebelness personality in their life too. They have I need to do this and I need to do that, and some people follow the rules and break the rules, and she follows the rules and breaks the rules at the same time. And also, her cousin follows the rules sometimes and doesn't. It depends on the situation and it needs to be. But mainly, they may try to give you guys hope. And this movie gave me my hope back because it hasn't been. I had hope when I originally saw it on 4th of July, and I saw it with my best friend on 4th of July. I had so much fun watching the 4th of July. I wanted to go see it again. I saw it now, and by perfect timing after I watched a comedy movie, feeling down, and watching the superhero movie. And superhero movies always bring me back up and have a joyous time. And this movie's still joyous and awesome to me. To others, it might not be like the like my favorite podcaster, John Campia. He doesn't like it much like the writing or much of the movie because of the writing. And the person who wrote this is going to write the new Wonder Woman movie, and he has concerns about. I don't. I think the Wonder Woman movie is going to be great. I think she did a great job writing this. The director of this is the guy who did I, Tonya and Cruella de Vil. Cruella de Vil and I, Tonya were great movies. They actually were really fun, awesome movies, and directing this movie was cool too because he had some elements from there. I mean, not all the elements from those two movies, but you can see some of his elements from that movie, those movies, and turn it into a superhero movie kind of thing. Um, Jason Momoa did a fantastic job as Lobo because he took some elements from the comic books, like the way the stuff he wears and stuff, and like the bombs, and pretty sure the bombs around his neck and bombs and the motorcycle and stuff he wears from the comics to actually make it very accurate to Lobo. I think that if Jason Momoa was in Moana, which I heard is not doing very well as live action, I still want to see it, but you know, um. If he was Jason Momoa instead of The Rock, I mean Jason Momoa was Maui instead of The Rock, probably do better. But no, Jason Momoa's going to be in Street Fighter, so he's going to be another guy, orange, the green and orange guy. So he's going to have another big movie to be in. That's probably hopefully going to make some money over it. Um, I wanted to see this movie before, also again before it went on in July 28th on digital. Go watch it on HBO Max and HBO Max or Prime because it's going to go on digital because it didn't perform very well in box office. But I think if most people don't like going to movie theaters, if people saw this on HBO Max or Amazon Prime, they will probably want to watch it then because not a lot of people go to the movies and hopefully it makes a lot of money and go see this. Enjoy it or don't enjoy this. Watch it and enjoy or don't enjoy it because this movie's coming out soon and determines how well it does. We can have a sequel, and I want a sequel, but we are going to see her in Superman again because that's why Superman was in here. Superman was only in here for some scenes because they're also teasing the next one. But like when I pictured this character, she was like a rebel and a like she's mainly a rebel, but also a Boy Scout. I pictured the punk rock song they had for in his movie for her. But when they had the middle in there, that song which I went to the mall and they played that right after I went to the movies. That song was perfect for her in the fight scene, and all the fight scenes were great. From one scene in the bar when they're trying to do the arm wrestling scene, and then outside of that when Grimm tries to take Ruthie and Supergirl, and then all the other girls on that planet to have them to breed for the male race. They had a big giant fight with that and Lobo. And then the last battle was really good as well. But also the stuff they should have put in here. I mean, they do still kill Grimm, but Grimm gets older. Ruthie gets older, but Supergirl doesn't because she's immortal. She's a superhuman being. They should have added him being a prisoner and then killing him instead of killing him right on that spot. But I can understand why the comic book's different from there. But the comic, it's completely different from there, where they keep him hostage and he learns his lesson and they still kill him for that main reason. Um, Everything else in the comic book is pretty much exactly how you see it in this movie, except the Lobo with the Lobo scenes. The Lobo wasn't in the final battle. The Lobo wasn't in the other fight scenes. Superman wasn't even mentioned in the comic book at all, but having him in here makes the story work. Um, but both of these characters are created. I mean, first of all, Superman was created by two Jewish boys that needed protection, and then they sold off rights to Superman because he got popular, and then you get to the fact that they sold off rights to Superman, then they made Supergirl, and then so on and so forth. But they still strive to hope for hope and all some of that. But also, my hope also comes from God, Jesus, Jehovah, Yahweh, different names for him, but also he created the minds of these two Jewish men to make Superman to for them to create Superman for protection from bullies to them eventually selling it off for them to have some money, become, multi-billionaires to them selling off to someone else having an idea to get Supergirl and have the same idea of hope and some of that. And when I saw Henry Cavill's version, the S means hope. Yes, it should have been an H on their chest, but it's an S. But when I heard that in that moment in time, when I saw the Henry Cavill one, when I had my broken heels, that's what made me strive to always have hope in my life and always be hopeful or always try to have that hope or always look towards a character that's kind of like a godlike being, a godlike centric um being like God is known, God is real, God's alive, but and he is coming, but on this earth right now, the closest thing we got as a visual of that is Superman or Supergirl if you're a girl, but Superman is a visual of that kind of thing where he's a godlike in their DC universe, and so is Supergirl like a godlike being in the DC universe. So I look upon that as he represents hope and being a god at the same time, but doing the right things, and also her doing the right things, but she doesn't want to do the right things because she lost everything. But she has to do the right thing and be forced to do that because of Ruthie. Ruthie driven that to have find her self-worth and everything, and that's what makes this movie work. Um, the human trafficking part is not in the comic either. They just add that just to have something change a little bit different, but it helps the story move on, move forward because it helps Supergirl find her way to being that hero that she's supposed to be. I enjoyed it the second time around because I mainly reason why I went back to see it the second time also is because the Krypton scene. I went to go to the bathroom when I saw it on 4th of July. I was like, oh, the Krypton scene was in the comics, and like I read that, and it's a long, very long page, and I thought that'll be long, and I already seen that. Let me go to the restroom. I had to go to the restroom. Well, now I understand the impact of why her parents were so important to her by watching the Krypton scenes, but not going to the restroom at that point when she was a little girl playing around with them, and then learning that her mom's sick when she's like a teenager, preteen. I don't know how they made Amelia Cox look like that when look like her teenage self in Game of Thrones. I know that's CGI and all that stuff, but it's pretty cool, or AI or whatever you want to call it these days. It's pretty cool how they made her look super young. But it was a very important scene in that movie. And now I went to the bathroom where they when she gets poisoned, she gets poisoned in the those people's houses after the bar scene. They were fighting those guys, and she was drinking the milk to coat her stomach from getting poisoned. I went to the bathroom there and I saw her flying Ruthie out, and that's when I went to the bathroom at that time because I already saw the movie. Then at the end of the movie, I saw people sitting there waiting for the end credit, and there's no end credit. The end credit was when she comes back to Earth and like tells Clark that she's gonna stay there for a while. Um, and then we'll see her again in Supergirl. But like, there's some things that they changed in the comics, and the comics are great, and I love the comic very much so. But this one follows the comic, and I like that. Um, Millie Alcox did great. There's a lot of hate against her doing this, and I don't see it. I don't see it at all. What I see from this now is gives me hope to do what I want to do in my life, and doesn't matter what people say about me or that person says something about me over there, over here, or over the setting of, any kind of setting of people that know you, or even people that don't know you that well that accuse you of doing something. It doesn't matter as long as you have hope, and as long as you have hope, Jesus, and yourself knowing that what the truth is, because Supergirl sees the truth in people. I know that's a line in that movie, and like my podcaster I listen to, like she says, I see the truth in people, but who wronged you? Blah blah blah. No 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 no. No. No one wronged her, but her character does see the truth in people. And she says at the very end of the movie, like, it's going to destroy you if you kill this person. Show Ruthie, show her that you are your clan without killing him. And then she ends up killing Grimm. And what I'm trying to say is that this shows me that I can be who I want to be also a Boy Scout slash rebel slash do everything good because it's all about the actions of your heart. So, did I mention that Grimm doesn't look like that in yeah, I think I mentioned that in the movie he looks uglier than he does in the comics. In the comics he looks more gorgeous, but this movie is just fantastic. Um, I loved it, and I still love it, and I highly recommend you guys checking it out when it comes out in digital. Please check it out when it comes out in digital. It's coming out really soon here because not to make room, it just didn't make much money in the box office. And maybe they'll make much more money on digital platform because you do have the Odyssey coming out pretty soon with Zendaya and Tom Holland, and you have Zendaya and Tom Holland coming out there. That was Spider-Man, and I also didn't go right away and seen that right away buying tickets right away for that. I can see that during the after the weekend it comes out. There's no rush and hurry. It's the summertime. Like I didn't see this till 4th of July, so you know I could have easily saw this when it first came out. But I promised my best friend I was going to see it, and I had a fun time with her seeing it, and I had a fun time with me seeing it by myself. But I had more fun time watching it with her. But this time seeing more fun, had more fun watching it, rewatching it again and knowing what time I can go when what scene I can go to the bathroom in when I need to go to the bathroom. But this movie is fantastic. I just love it to pieces, and Supergirl is just awesome, and the comic book is awesome. I highly recommend you guys read the comic book as well. But I have more videos on what I felt about this. Right, I had a theater right, out of the theater right, out of the theater reaction. So I'll put that in this little edited video. It's gonna be like the vlog that I did, but this is my second showing of Supergirl, and I loved it, and I enjoyed every minute of it. And if I could watch it the third time in theaters, I would, but they're taking it out. So, and it's moving on to Odyssey and Odyssey and Spider-Man. I want to keep calling uh, Spider-Man Superman, but then we're going to see Superman again and see her again in Superman Man of Tomorrow, which this movie should have been called. This movie should have been called Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, but they use that title. But that's okay. Um, that's all I gotta say about this. Put a like, comment, subscribe, and notification bell, and deuces. So I had to see Supergirl one more time for a second time actually, not one more time, a second time. Because the past few days haven't been hopeful. This sign to me means hope, and that's what they said in Henry Cavill's version, that this symbol means hope. It should have an H on it, not an S, but it means hope. And being hopeful for anything to happen. Supergirl also represents that. And she's also a rule breaker, and she also follows the rules. Breaks them, follows them. Sometimes you have people like that, but towards the end, she found her self-worth. And this is what I mean by this. Yes, there's hope